What's the biggest question here? Ranjana Kumari, Center of Social Research. Neena Pillai, friend of Sunanda, has been speaking out in this case. Welcome back. C. Rajashekaran defending Shashi Tharoor for some time from Madras High Court. Sanjay Hegde of the Supreme Court. Rahul Ishwar also defending Shashi Tharoor, like completely, almost unobjectively at times defending Shashi Tharoor, to the point, Rahul Ishwar, of not asking the most basic questions. What's the most important question? You're a lawyer. Ranjana Kumari, what's the most basic question you think is going to come up now in the minds of the police? What is the fundamental question that Shashi Tharoor faces tonight?
Well, he has created enough suspicion by really acting on his own behalf, writing the email to AIMS, where he really promoted the lupus theory. Nobody knew about this whole thing, but then his email is something which really brought the whole issue. So why did he do that? I think that is something very, very, because that's where the whole investigation started getting, there was an attempt to mislead, and that created a lot of suspicion now in the minds of people about him and his own role. And also, I think secondly, it's extremely important for everybody to know what kind of a pressure, if at all, was put on All India Medical Institute doctor, who later came up with this whole issue of pressure being put on him to change the report. And thirdly, if there were so many, and if he was in love with this woman, married this woman, if there were so many marks on her body, so much of it was talked about already, then why there was no attempt or nothing from his side to wait and to pressurize the police and investigation agencies to let him know what really happened? Why was he not wanting, instead of just tweeting, instead of just trying to,
This time, Ranjana
I think
Kumari,
there are many issues that he has let happen, that suspicion has grown against his action, his emails, his, all kinds of, even silence to some extent.
Absolutely.
And trying to avoid,
This time, and I'm saying repeatedly, we know she's been murdered. I'm not imputing who exactly the murderer is. But this time, Mr. Rajashekaran, you realize as we are looking on this, one, public interest, people want the clear answers in this case. Second, questions about many things that don't add up about Shashi Tharoor. But most importantly, I would say, Mr. Rajashekaran, the Delhi police, what the hell is the Delhi police has been doing? The FIR is filed on January 2015, 1 year after the crime. CCTV footage was handed over by the Leela. The Delhi police has no answers as to how Sunanda Pushkar was murdered. They can just find out who are the last few people to have entered the room. Now in November, they go, and this is the most hilarious part of it, Mr. Rajashekaran. 9 months later, you go and say, oh yes, we didn't think he was murdered, but when we were vacuum cleaning that room, we suddenly find bits of broken glass. So hello, there could have been a scuffle and she could have been murdered. This hilarious behavior of the Delhi police. Mr. Rajashekaran, do you think there's some pressure building on the Delhi police to go slow, not act, or act on being prompted? Is this political in the sense of the inaction, not the action? The inaction so far.
And also, Arnab, just half a second.
No, let Mr. Rajashekaran take that. Let Mr. Rajashekaran take that. I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Rajashekaran.
Okay.
Arnab, you have rightly put forth the questions, and I totally agree with you on your points on several issues with Delhi police. See, the first 6 months, the Delhi police comes out to the FIR saying that it is 174 unnatural death, and subsequently the next 6 months they say it is murder. Now they have started questioning all the so-called suspects or so-called witnesses. You cannot accuse somebody because somebody is called for questioning. He automatically, by default, he becomes an accused. Definitely not.
No, but there are tough questions he's going to face, Mr. Rajashekaran. For the first time, Sanjay Hegde now faces tough questions. He hasn't faced any questions till now.
Let me answer it.
I think it is thoroughly disgraceful. I think it is thoroughly disgraceful that he has not been asked any questions till now. No Aam Aadmi would get this kind of treatment. No, it's not the prerogative of the police. It's the choice of the police. It's the choice of the police. Mr. Hegde,
you can attribute.
No, you can't.
Whatever you want, but
you can't do an eyewash this time, can you, Mr. Hegde? Can the police do an eyewash? Because when the police wants to, it does eyewash.
The police can't do an eyewash.
They are ineffective. They have not done.
Mr. Rajashekaran, please let me continue.
Failed in the investigation.
Yes, but if they have been, Mr. Rajashekaran, let Mr. Sanjay Hegde come in. But I'll tell you one thing: if they have been totally ineffective, if they have been lazy, if they have been incompetent, right, like the police very often is known to be, does not give them the license of continuing to be lazy and incompetent. They can't be lazy and incompetent in the future. Mr. Hegde.
Absolutely, Arnab. What they have to do is to do a very careful and thorough job. I agree that tough questions have to be asked, but they need not be asked toughly. You see, the art of cross-examination is not the art of asking questions crossly. It is the art of gently leading the witness to a fatal admission. What you do is make a timeline. You were at the Congress office at this point of time. At this point of time, you went back home. Between this point of time and this point of time, you probably called up the hotel. At the hotel, nobody answered. Why did you not follow up? This is the kind of patient work that is required. It is not necessarily going to break in one fell swoop. It has to be patiently chipped away.
Many relevant come up to my mind.
Even if the Delhi police has come late to the party, I hope they do a good job.
Well, I don't know, which party they have come to or which party they haven't. I'm sorry, Mr. Bassi is trying to look like he's investigating the case here. He should know the final autopsy report was 27th September. I place it on record for Newshour viewers. 27th of September 2014. You have a final autopsy report that declares that a lady called Sunanda Pushkar, right, who normal Hindi individual whose cause of death could be poisoning, was submitted to the Delhi police. It takes them till January 6 to file a case of murder. I mean, what on earth were they doing? Do they need someone's approval for that? But the question that comes to my mind, Nina, the most important question that comes to my mind, the whole world knew that Sunanda Pushkar was going to reveal something about the Kochi IPL scam, where she felt, from all accounts, that she had been used as a proxy. Now, that probably is one line of questioning. The question which should be asked is, the whole world knew, did Shashi Tharoor know about it, Nina? Is that the relevant question comes to your mind or something else?
Yeah. I think when the night before she, the member of staff mentioned that "you are finished" are words that she used to Shashi Tharoor. Now, what she meant by that would be very, very important. I think like you said, they went and re-investigated the room. They found it was, it had body fluids, the bed, there was shattered glass, all of which they were not able to pick up in the first forensic identification, but her husband saw her and said she was sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, she was sleeping. That there was such a gap between the time she died, where rigor mortis must have set in, and her being found and reported. 3-4 hours. What happened in those intervening 3-4 hours? You are finished, blunt force trauma. I think, the evidence they have found now, the case being shifted to the CID and then back again to the Delhi police, who was pressuring them? Many questions. And the IPL is the biggest question of all, and I think it needs the most attention.
I agree with you, Nina. That actually is the most relevant question in this case, And Rahul, when I've said you're a supporter, you may be a blind supporter, you may not be a blind supporter. But one question which Nina asks, very relevant question, is this. Did Sunanda Pushkar call Shashi Tharoor and tell him that he would be quote-unquote finished? Right? As Narayan claims in his statement, what did Sunanda know about Tharoor that if disclosed to the media would finish him off? Relevant question. But the most important question tonight that the police will have to ask is what exactly happened in room number 345. What happened in room number 345? Because the medical board report of 29 December, and this question goes to Rahul Ishwar, says that there were 345 pieces of broken glass found near the carpet and near the curtain of the room, which are suggestive of a scuffle. Right? So the question is, will Shashi Tharoor tonight, if he's asked this question, be able to explain where was there a scuffle? Why was there a scuffle? If there are only two people living in that room, was there a scuffle between these two people in the room? Was there a third person who entered the room? or perhaps a fourth person? What was going on within room number 345?
Arnabji, two things. One, we all want to know the truth. We all want to know the truth. We all know that there are more questions than answers. And we all concede that the media has been, media should be applauded for keeping the pressure alive.
Really? I thought you were part of this. No, I thought you were part of that lobby that talks about the media trial.
Just hold.
Yeah.
No, hold on. But remember that we should be patient enough. There has been a lot of insinuation and innuendos to Shashi Tharoor personally.
There is a question. A question is not an insinuation.
Him like anything.
A fact is not an innuendo. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry, Rahul Ishwar. That's where you get it wrong. One second. Nina can respond to you. Nina, this has gone on for too long. A question becomes an innuendo and a fact becomes an insinuation. I think you've got the wrong end of the stick. You should actually...
Question is different from an innuendo.
Ranjana Kumari and Nina, would you like to respond to this, this vague aspect, this vague argument being put? Ranjana Kumari first. Ranjana.
But for the pressure, but for the discussion, but for the open debate that people like you and other channels opened up, but for the pressure and the heat generated by the media, I do not see Delhi police acting. Look at the way Delhi police was sleeping over the whole issue, and even after the new government, 7 months it has taken them to really file an FIR. It's been 1 year since the murder. So many mistakes they have made. They cannot explain. In fact, there is a lot to be, explained by the Delhi police to people. Why did they do what they do? Why did they do the kind of, shabby investigation that they have gone through?
Our system may be slow, but it is steady.
The system is slow.
Processes. Our system may be slow, but it is steady.
Asked by media and all of us, do you think ever Shashi Tharoor would have been called? Do you think for 1 year he was never called? Can you believe that? Husband whose wife dies in unnatural circumstances, and also she has been administered poison or by herself or somebody else. That's what police says. And he is silent. He has to tell everything that he knows, from the scuffle, from the, and also the
Nina is coming back into the debate, and Sanjay Hegde, 5 more minutes on debate number 1. Gentlemen, 5 more minutes on debate number 1. We can take sides right now, and viewers can tweet live using Tharoor Faces Cops. Question is, Sunanda Pushkar murdered Nina on January 17th, right? Now it takes them 9 to 10 months to find that there are fluid marks on the bed and the carpet and a broken glass in 345, which will now be sent to the Central Forensic Science Laboratory for examination. I'm sorry, you say the system does not work? There should be an investigation on what was going on between January 17th and 29 December as far as the Delhi police is concerned. Yes. There needs to be another investigation on the Delhi police itself. I wonder who's going to do that. Nina.
May I come in?
Mr. Rajashekar.
I think what is very relevant right now is that let us take a timeline for what happened on that particular the 48 hours that from perhaps the Air India flight they came on where they had a squabble, and then it continued, and on the 16th she allegedly took his phone, and all the tweets, the BBM messages, everything that caused her to be so anguished, so pained. I think all the women in India feel in many ways that they could be Sunanda Pushkar, just we Sunanda. I am Sunanda, because, everyone goes through anguish and pain if their husband is having an affair and or allegedly having an affair. And I think it's all part of life. It's not that there is...
Mr. Rajashekaran.
Yeah, no.
Mr. Rajashekaran.
No, it doesn't matter about wild or not wild. I think the point is that all these things are a matter of investigation. No, I'm sorry, whoever's interrupting, he's wrong.
Mr. Rajashekaran was interrupted.
There are people that have been planted.
There is no proof for that.
No, Mr. Rajashekaran, I think there are...
in the public domain like
this.
They have to. Not right.
No, I am not accosting anyone.
It is undisputed that they had a fight. It is undisputed that they had a fight.
So you admit
It is undisputed that they had a fight. The question is, did the fight lead to the death?
We are not looking into domestic
the timeline
violence,
has
but we are
to be
looking into a death
investigated.
or a murder.
I'm saying that it has to go into, yes, it is a murder by poison. I think it has to be
what is happening
investigated
here?
as a
1 minute,
murder
just
and
a minute,
not-
Nina.
You cannot use kid gloves.
Nina, you know this. You know there is and I'll tell you, there is a very devious but solid attempt being made to separate the domestic quarrel from the murder. It's apparent to everyone, right?
Domestic violence.
No, please, don't. It's apparent. No, 1 second.
No.
1
We are
minute,
not talking domestic violence. The question is, why was the murder committed, if at all?
So what you're saying is there's a domestic squabble, there's a murder. These are two separate things. My question is, why were there?
That is not what I'm saying.
Okay, that's your. My question is, okay.
Arnab,
That's not what-
if you go by what Shashi Tharoor himself said, they had a mild altercation, his words, not mine.
Words which were changed.
But where did all these marks
In his statement
come?
before the police.
Where did all these marks come from?
No. The bottom
Yes,
line is this.
absolutely.
The bottom line is this.
There is a murder. You have to investigate murder as murder. It cannot be befuddled with domestic violence.
There is a serious murder.
Marks are not connected to the death.
There is a serious murder investigation which should have started. 1 year has passed, and please be rational, Mr. Rahul Ishwar. 1 year since the incident, 15 injury marks on her body, a teeth bite and a mysterious injection mark. Why hasn't the Delhi police investigated the marks on her body, the injection on her, and just accepted one thing for 1 year, that it was not a case of murder? Now, if the Delhi police has filed a case of murder, why are they continuing to be evasive?
Those injury marks are not connected to death.
Let me, Mr. Rahul Ishwar, there's only one thing I'll say, and Sanjay Hegde knows this.
Can I come in?
Sanjay Hegde knows, if after filing a case of murder, if they now try to file a closure report in this case, saying we could not connect the dots.
How so many injuries were inflicted on her body?
If they cannot connect the dots, and they file a B report, then the others can. Anybody who wants to step in can ask for a further investigation. If the magistrate is convinced that the investigation is not enough, then he can order a further investigation. Let's not jump to that extent. The reason why the police did not investigate it as a murder was till December. At the end of December, the medical board said that the death, they concluded that the death was...
Gentlemen, there are direct contradictions, multiple contradictions. Multiple contradictions in the version of one man. And that man is on your screen right now.
Arnav, the death was within...
Yes, Nina, what are you saying? We'll stay with the pictures. What are you saying, Nina?
I said the death is within 7 years, which is mandated by the law, that if a lady dies, the death has to be investigated, especially if there's suspicion of murder. I am not saying who murdered her. I am not trying to put blame on anyone's shoulder, but there is a line of investigation that has to be followed thoroughly, and her murderers have to be brought to book. There was a conspiracy to murder her. That
Absolutely.
has to be exposed.
Yes, Nina. Nina.
The perpetrators of the murder.
All right. Now, 1 second.
What was it caused by? It all has to be investigated.
There's only one question. One question I have to ask. Did Shashi Tharoor know about the press conference that Sunanda had called on the afternoon she was found dead in her hotel room? When a person who threatens to tell all is found dead the next day, murdered the next day, does it not point, an obvious question that has that person been silenced? And did Shashi Tharoor communicate with Sunanda in all the long hours that she had been sleeping? What was the reason for the broken glass? Who lied about the lupus theory? Why did people forward emails offering a possible explanation to the death? Why was the body disposed of very quickly? Why was the foul play angle rejected from the very beginning? And why didn't people who were in the know suspect foul play when it was obvious if you were to look at the circumstantial evidence? These are some of the questions which will be asked. Mr. Bassi, do a good job. Because if you don't, more questions will be asked about what on earth the Delhi police has been doing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.